Ladies and gentlemen, my Jewish friends, I stand before you today not just as a journalist, but as a wife, as a mother, as the stepdaughter of a Jew whose mother was an Auschwitz survivor. I stand beside you today as an ally. The Holocaust did not begin with the concentration camps. It began with words, with stereotypes, with lies, with the quiet acceptance of hatred. When people stayed silent, hate was allowed to grow. That silence cost 6 million lives. Anti-Semitism is not new. For centuries, Jewish people have been blamed for problems they did not cause, targeted for their beliefs, and treated as outsiders, even in places they called home for generations. And tragically, this hatred has never truly gone away. Here in the United Kingdom, a country that prides itself on tolerance, fairness and equality, a nation which swore off appeasement and stood firm against the Nazis, anti-Semitism has become a painful reality of everyday life. Reports of anti-Semitic incidents, from vandalism and online abuse to physical attacks, have risen sharply. Jewish schools, synagogues and community centres now need around-the-clock security. Jewish people, our neighbours, our colleagues and our friends have to think twice before wearing a Star of David or attending a public event like this one this evening. Since October the 7th, anti-Semitism has become so normalised that even the murder of 2 innocent Jewish worshippers at the Heaton Park Synagogue in Manchester last week was not enough to stop anti-Jewish hatred being spouted on our streets. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you this evening, this is not the Britain we want to see. Stopping anti-Semitism is not just about protecting one community. It's about protecting the very values that hold our society together. When anti-Semitism spreads unchecked, it erodes trust, divides communities, and casualises prejudice. And history, both past and very recent, has taught us in the darkest ways you can imagine where that road can lead. We cannot make this mistake again. Ladies and gentlemen, the media does have a crucial role to play. Unlike those on social media who make cruel jokes about Jews, spread conspiracy theories online, or defend anti-Jewish hatred as just an opinion, organisations like the ones I work for, The Telegraph and GB News, have an obligation to separate fact from fiction. Every single time we see discrimination, we must challenge it loudly, proudly, consistently. Sadly, not all of the media has stood shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish community. Since October the 7th, we have seen misreporting and disinformation spread not by online trolls, but by our national broadcaster. The BBC, which still refuses to describe Hamas as terrorists, has platformed those linked to its murderous regime. It has broadcast hate from the Glastonbury stage when it wrongly reported an attack on Orthodox Jews inside a bus on Oxford Street. It was too slow to correct the record. There have been repeated complaints about a lack of impartiality in its reporting of events in the Middle East. In August 2024, it was accused of, and I quote, systemic problems of anti-Semitism and bias in a letter signed by more than 200 people, including Jewish BBC staff. Some employees have even been found to have made explicitly anti-Semitic comments. This week, the BBC was again forced to apologise after referring to Hamas's murderous attack on Israelis as an escalation on the second anniversary of a massacre that left more than 1,200 people dead. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the Britain we want to be. With the Gaza ceasefire due to begin tonight and the remaining hostages due to be released this weekend, the media must now shift its focus from events thousands of miles away to the raging radicalisation here at home. There is no time to waste. It must do this urgently before more innocent lives are lost. It behoves us to report without fear or favour the Islamic extremism that has taken root in some parts of the country, that has been all parts, that has been ignored by successive governments for far too long in the interests of political correctness. The press, politicians and regulators must confront the dangerous rhetoric being spewed, not just in mosques, not just in street corners, but out in the open, proudly, with prejudice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the Britain we want to be. Stopping anti-Semitism means educating ourselves and others, not just about the Holocaust, but about Jewish life, culture, and the enormous contribution Jewish people have made to Britain. It means listening when Jewish people say they feel unsafe. It means ensuring that never again is not just a phrase we repeat each January on Holocaust Memorial Day, but a promise we live by every single day. And yet the very seats of learning that supposedly produce our brightest and best have become hotbeds of anti-Semitism. King's College London, whose notable alumni include those with Jewish heritage, such as the philosopher Alain de Botton, the Nobel Prize-winning chemist Michael Levitt, the literary scholar and suffragette Edith Morley, held a protest on campus just hours after Adrian Dorby and Melvin Kravitz had been killed. These ignorant students, and that's what they are, you have to pay a lot to get that ill-educated. And all those calling for a global intifada and chanting from the river to the sea, they need to be taught a serious lesson, not just in history, but basic humanity. Our universities should be centres of excellence, not agents of Hamas propaganda masquerading as progressiveness. I say again, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the Britain we want to be. Anti-Semitism is not a Jewish problem. It has become a very British problem. Because when hate takes roots in one corner of society, it threatens the safety and dignity of us all. So let us choose a better path. Let us choose the British path. Let us be the generation that stands firm against prejudice, not with slogans and hashtags alone, but with real courage, real compassion, and most importantly, real action. Because a Britain that is free from anti-Semitism is not just safer for Jewish people. It is a Britain that is true to itself. It is a Britain that is true to its values. It is a Britain that is true to its people. We stand with you tonight and always. Thank you.